knows how you come across somebody once in a while you shouldn't have messed with. That's me.
I am not an African American.
You're Oreo cookie, white in the inside and black on the outside.
I don't have an afro, I have an Amerifro.
Talking that idiotic stuff you talk about, I will slap you.
Go ahead, make my day.
Black as the ace of spades, but 100% American.
Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. Rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being with me. My guest right now is Sunsara Taylor. She writes for Revolution newspaper, Voice of the Revolutionary Communist Party, USA. She hosts WBAI Equal Time for Free Thought. And she sits on the advisory board of World Can't Wait. She recently protested the March for Life this past Monday, the day after the 39th anniversary of Roe versus Wade. So I've asked her to come on to help me and others understand why is she so in favor of death over life. Sunsara, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Hi, how are you?
All is well. Have you always been anti-abortion?
I'm actually pro-abortion. I think there's
pro-abortion. I'm sorry, yeah, pro-abortion.
A woman who is forced to have a child against her will is enslaved, and abortion is a perfectly moral decision for any woman at any time that she decides she does not want to bring a pregnancy to term, because fetuses are not babies.
Have you always felt this way about it? Have you always felt this way?
I've always felt that a woman should be able to decide for herself, and the more I've learned about the procedure of abortion and the more I've understood what is the motivation of the movement to criminalize abortion, the more firmly and unapologetically I've come to understand that women absolutely deserve the right to abortion and to birth control, and it's immoral to force women to have children against their will, yes.
Well, how do you feel knowing that 51% of the American people are pro-life?
Well, you know, that's a number that changes depending on how you frame the question. And the truth is that people have been wrong about many things. A lot of people upheld slavery when slavery was legal. That didn't make slavery right. The truth is most people, if you ask them, do you want women to be forced to have children against their will, most would say no. I think 95% would say no. But even if a lot of them said yes, I would still argue that they're wrong and work to change their minds, because the truth is if women are enslaved to their reproduction, then no one is free. That's actually objectively true, and I would argue that whether people agreed with it or not, I would
say that most people wouldn't care if a woman wanted to have an abortion. We just don't want to pay for it. You can go and do. Let's say that you got pregnant. Have you ever had an abortion?
I'm not here to discuss my personal life, no.
Well, I would think that you wouldn't have a problem with it since you're discussing it if you're so in support of it. But most people wouldn't care if you had an abortion long as we don't have to pay for it. You can do whatever you want. You can kill your babies every day. We just don't want to pay for it. Is that fair that we should have to pay for it?
Well, it's a myth. No one is paying for women's abortions.
No, we are paying for it. That's not a myth. We're paying for it through our tax dollars. We are paying for it.
Well, I actually think that women should have support who do not have support, who do not have available funds. I think that being impoverished is not a good reason to be forced to carry a pregnancy to term. The only good reason to carry a pregnancy to term is because you really want a child and because you're healthy, you're able to take care of it. If you don't have the resources to take care of it, then, and you don't want it, then I think you should get the help you need to be able to terminate that pregnancy. Absolutely.
This past weekend, or Monday, I believe, there was a protest. Thousands of For Life people showed up to protest abortion there in Washington, D.C., and you went there to protest them. Don't they have the right to protest to stand against abortion without people like you interrupting them?
Well, it's kind of a twisted question you're asking. We didn't try to stop their protest. We said they're wrong, and our voices needed to be heard. And frankly, they are wrong. They were standing there praying and invoking the verses from Timothy that say that women caused original sin and that we can only redeem ourselves by having babies. That's from the Dark Ages. It's from a Bible that is made up by human beings who lived in an agrarian, patriarchal society, and they're trying to impose that on our lives. I think it's absolutely imperative. Not only do we have a right to stand up against that, we have an obligation to, because really this is about the lives and the future of half of humanity.
Do you believe in God? Society. Do you believe in God?
Well, I don't believe in God, and God doesn't exist.
Oh, well, no wonder you support abortion. You don't see anything wrong because you're not on the side of good.
Well, that's total crap what you're saying, because I don't believe in God. God doesn't exist. Believing in a made-up idea of God, and especially the Christian God who commanded slavery and genocide and stoning non-virgin brides when they get married, all of these things, that doesn't make you good. That makes you deluded.
How do you know God doesn't exist? How do you know that?
Because there's never been any evidence at all proffered to prove that God exists. And every religion, every claim to God has always been something that you can take apart and show how it was made up by human beings. For instance, if you look at the Bible, Jesus comes up along a young boy in Matthew who's having an epileptic fit. But Jesus doesn't understand epilepsy. He thinks there's a demon there, and he casts out a demon. Now, that's not an all-knowing God. That's not an all-knowing, all-understanding. Epilepsy is a material process. It's not a demon. So there's a lot of things that if you read the scriptures of any major religion, you see this is just made up by people. And they were people who lived before science. There were people who lived in slave-owning agrarian societies a couple thousand years ago. And the Bible reflects their ignorance and their prejudice. That's all it is.
This is funny. 1,500 black babies are aborted every day. Margaret Sanger, who was the founder of Planned Parenthood, desire was to destroy the underclass. And at the time, she called black people the underclass. Are you happy knowing that over 1,500 black babies are aborted every day? Does that make you feel good to know that?
First of all, again, you're using really unscientific language, because fetuses are not babies. Fetuses are not babies. But am I happy that there are 1,500 black women who are not forced into motherhood against their will? Yes, I am. Am I happy that those black women are disproportionately denied sex education, denied decent health care, forced into conditions where, yes, they undergo many more unplanned pregnancies, a higher ratio than other sections of the population, not because abortion doctors prey on black women or Planned Parenthood preys on black women, but because black women are systematically oppressed and denied access to this. And yes, if they need abortions, I am glad they get those abortions.
So you are happy, as a white woman, you're telling me you're happy about the genocide upon the unborn black child. You are happy about the genocide.
You're talking about genocide? You've got to be kidding me. You want to talk about what's happening with black people in slow genocide, which could quickly become
let's do the baby.
Let's
do the baby thing first, because that's reality. So you're saying, yes, Jesse, as a white woman, I'm happy about the black genocide upon the unborn black baby.
You're twisted. No, there's no black genocide going on in black women's wombs. There is black genocide going on in the U.S. prisons. There is mass incarceration, a whole generation that's been criminalized and demonized and locked away. That is a genocidal program in this country, not what's happening in black women's wombs. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
So, sorry, let me ask you one short, quick question because of time here. Do you realize that you are a wicked woman, and if you don't overcome your hatred, your anger, that you would never... even after you die or expire, you will always be a wicked and unhappy woman?
Well, I think I'm a really good and decent person. I think I'm fighting for the emancipation of humanity.
I know you may think that you are, but you're not.
This has been the Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show, produced by Bond Action. To access the full version of this show, visit us on the web at bondaction.org.